Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
You turn the time circuits on.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Time won't give me time. Gotta get back in time. Time after time.
This is where the past comes alive. Decades with Joe E. Kramer starts now.
All right, here we go. It's another Saturday night, another edition of Decades on your radio. It's Joey Kramer. Are you ready to go? Big old night of fun. Decades Artist Spotlight returns tonight. David Fenton from the new wave rock group The Vapors, turning Japanese. Remember that one back in the 80s? We'll talk to David Fenton after 9 o'clock. Hairspray at 8 and more. Bobby Brown. Every little step.
I can't sleep at night. I toss and turn, listening for the telephone. But when I get your call, I'm all choked up. Can't believe you called my home. And as a matter of fact, it blows my mind. You don't even talk to me. Because a girl like you is like a dream come true. A real life fantasy. No matter what your friends try to tell you, we will make you fall in love. And we will be together in any kind of weather. Just like that, just like that. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. I can't think too straight, I'm all confused. You must have put a thing on me, because there are no words that can explain. I'm living in ecstasy, and you can just believe I've got you back. You never have to feel no pain, because I dedicate my life to you. You never look for love again. No matter what your friends try to tell you, we will make you fall in love. We'll always be together in any kind of weather. Just like that, just like that. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I every little step I take, every little step I we'll be together, girl. Good loving. Good loving. No matter what your friends try to tell you, we will make you fall in love. And we will be together in any kind of weather. It's like that, it's like that, girl. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I take, oh no, we'll be there. Every little step I make, we'll be there. Be together. Every little step I take, every step we'll be there. Every little step I make, we will be together. Every little step I every little step I take, oh no. Every little step I we'll be together.
On air, online, and on your mobile device. Decades is everywhere. Everywhere. Everywhere.
Do you have to leave? I just can't live without you. So listen to me.
Please don't go, girl. You would ruin my whole world. Tell me you'll stay. Never ever go away.
girl right here on Decades.
Joey Kramer. Turn it up. This is Decades.
And this is the show that you can listen to live every Saturday night and throughout the week and hear all the great music from the 80s and 90s. Take y'all back. Things were so much easier, right? Yep, we're all getting old, no doubt about it. David Fenton from the Vapors coming up after 9. David Lee Roth on your radio right now. Just like Paradise, this is Decades.
Rockin' steady in her daddy's car. She got the stereo with the big guitars, and that's alright. Yeah. I got the itch and a restless soul. She gone with the wind, gonna go for a walk tonight. Yeah. And that's alright. Girl, we've been meant for this since we were born. No problems now, coast is clear. It's just the calm before the storm. This must be just like living in paradise. Just like paradise. And I don't wanna go home. And I don't want daddy go. This must be just like living in paradise. And I don't wanna go home. Susie, girl, for crying out loud, you got all the right moves. You make me eat my heart out nightly. Alright with me. No special favors, make it hard to go. We'll spend it later, got to make this romance last. That's it. Some folks say easy come is easy go. And some folks say one night ain't enough for me. Girl, hang on tight, please don't let go. This must be just like living in paradise. It's just like paradise. And I don't wanna go home. And I ain't never going home. This must be just like living in paradise. Just like paradise. I don't wanna go This must be just like living in paradise. Paradise. And I don't wanna go home. And I don't wanna go. This must be just like living in paradise. Just like paradise. Don't wanna go home. 1-800. Just like living in paradise. I don't wanna go home. Just like paradise. This must be just like living in paradise.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer and another lost track from the 80s.
Hey, pick it up. Let's get you out of your head. China's hanging out by the railings on the motor shed. She goes with a real head biker. He's a metalhead. She looks you up and down, talking dirty eyes. Sweet saying, boy, baby, I can lick you anytime. Keep it up.
from their greatest hits album back in 1988. Decadence, The Violence of Summer, right here on Decades. Of course, they had their last album out was 2015. And in 2015, Paper Gods. It was an album that became their first top 5 album since 2004's Astronaut. So Duran Duran continues to have its success into the 21st century. Andy Taylor no longer with the band, but they're still a threesome at this point and working on new material and getting out on tour again, supposedly this year in 2019. We'll find out. All right, tonight, Hairspray at 8, of course. We will do that. We have a Decades Artist Spotlight, which will be our last Decades Artist Spotlight for a bit. We're getting up some interviews, recording, talking to a couple artists. You're going to love the artists we have coming on the show in the next couple months. But this one will be the last for a few weeks anyway. David Fenton from the Vapors will be with us at 9 o'clock. Do not want to miss that. Next Saturday night, Shadow Steel here. And the return of Singing with the Sam. We did it last week. I'm giving her this week off. And before she goes back to school next week, we'll do one more next Saturday night. So all that and more. Green Day on the way. Kim Carnes. And a lost track from someone who we lost last week. Another great artist from the 70s and 80s passed away last week. And we're going to play one of their biggest ones from 1972 coming up for the 8-track classic flashback. All right, here it is, Decades on the River. 105 and 103.5 around the world at decadeswithjoeykramer.com. TheRiverNEPA.com, and of course, the Radio Bold app. We will be right back. Hang on.
And do not attempt to change the frequency.
Changing channels is not only foolhardy, but also extremely dangerous.
We know. That's what everybody says.
So I don't believe you ought to try it.
Now, back to the music. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running out. As time ticks by, still I try. No rest for cross-tops in my mind. On my own, here we go. Feel like they're gonna bleed right up and bulging out my skull. My mouth is dry, my face is numb. Wrapped up and spun out in my room. On my own, here we go. Set on overdrive. The clock is laughing in my face. Crooked spine, my senses dulled. That's the point of delirium. On my own, here we go. Feel like they're gonna bleed right up and bulging out my skull. My mouth is dry,
Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
The biggest hits forever.
You know, everybody knows her, of course, for Betty Davis Eyes. Big #1 song in the 80s. My favorite by her is this one, Crazy in the Night. Kim Carnes.
Sometimes I really think I'm going crazy in the night when I hide down in the covers and I won't turn out the light. I think nothing's gonna get to me, but then again it might. What can I do to keep from going crazy in the night? I need a drink of water, but I swallow hard instead. It's hard to move a muscle when you're frozen in your bed. If I could make it to the phone before I die of fright, what can I do to keep from going crazy in the night? Sometimes she really thinks she's going crazy in the night, but she hides down in the covers and she won't turn out the light. She says nothing's gonna get to her, but then again it might. What can she do to keep from going crazy in the night? There's a monster on my ceiling, there's a monster on the wall. There are thousands in the closet, now they're coming down the hall. I'm so hidden they can't find me, but then again they might. What can I do to keep from going crazy in the night? Sometimes she really thinks she's going crazy in the night, but she hides down in the covers and she won't turn out the light. She says nothing's gonna get to her, but then again it might. What can she do to keep from going crazy in the If I disappeared, do you think they'd ever look? Would I be headlines in the paper or the cover of a book? Gotta pull myself together, I don't wanna die of fright. What can I do to keep from going crazy in the night? Sometimes she really thinks she's going crazy in the night, but she hides down in the covers and she won't turn out the light. She says nothing's gonna get to her, but then again it might. What can she do to keep from going crazy in the night?
Crack open a new Coke and slip on those leg warmers. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. I feel commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling.
term Rickrolling back in 1987 when that song came out. I don't think it would have ever been thought of, nor would I have thought we'd be walking around with phones attached to our ears nonstop. 1991, I despise the grunge era. However, I did like this song, and that's why I play it. Pearl Jam, they're working on a 2019 tour, and maybe new music. There's always something out there by Pearl Jam. Alive, right here, it is Decades.
She said, have I got a little story for you? What you thought was your daddy was nothing but a while you were sitting home alone at age 13. Your real lady was dying. Sorry you didn't see them, but I'm glad we talked. Oh, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Oh, she walked slowly across a young man's room. She said, I'm ready for you. Well, I can't remember anything to this very day except the love. Go, you know where. Now I can't see. I just stare. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Is something wrong, she said. Of course there is. You're still alive, she said. Oh, do I deserve to be? Is that the question? And if so, answers, who answers? I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
real cool to roll those jeans. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
I saw you standing hand in hand, but now you come to me, the solitary man. And I know what it is that made us live such ordinary lives. Where to go to see, no one can sympathize. The smile has left your eyes. The smile has left your eyes. And I've become a rolling stone. I don't know where to go or what to call my own. But I can see that black horizon moving ever close to you. It's over now with my thoughts. See how this feels for you. The smile has left your eyes. The smile has left your eyes. I never thought I'd see you standing there with him. So don't come crawling back to me. I saw you standing hand in hand, but now you come to me, a solitary man. And I know what it is that makes us live such ordinary lives. Where to go, who to see, no one can sympathize. The smile that left your eyes. Now it's too late to realize. Now there's no one can sympathize. Now that this smile has left your eyes. Now it's too late to realize. Now there's no one can sympathize. Now it's too late to realize. Now that this smile has left your eyes. The smile has left your eyes.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer gives you this week's 8-track classic flashback.
Don't touch me. Hey, Ray. Hey, Sugar. Tell them who we are.
Well, we're big rock singers, we got golden fingers, and we're loved everywhere we go.
That sounds like us.
We sing about beauty and we sing about truth at $10,000 a show.
Right.
We take all kind of pills to give us all kind of thrills, but the thrill we've never known is the thrill that'll get you when you get your picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone. Wanna see my picture on the cover? Wanna buy 5 copies for my mother? Wanna see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone?
That's a very, very good idea.
I got a freaky old lady named a Cocaine Kitty who embroiders on my jeans. I got my poor old gray-haired daddy driving my limousine.
Now it's all designed to blow our minds, but our minds won't really be blown. Like the blow that'll get you when you get your picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone. Wanna see our pictures on the cover? Wanna buy 5 copies for our mother? Wanna see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone? Hey, I know how. Rock and roll! Oh, that's beautiful. We got a lot of little teenage blue-eyed groupies who do anything we say. We got a genuine Indian guru. He's teaching us a better way. We got all the friends that money can buy, so we never have to be alone. And we keep getting richer, but we can't get our picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone. Wanna see my picture on the cover? Wanna buy 5 copies for my mother? Wanna see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone? On the cover of the Rolling Stone. Wanna see my picture on the cover?
Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. Just plain old Dr. Hook, he went by. Ray Sawyer, and of course his band, Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show, who passed away on New Year's Eve, this past New Year's Eve. Lost his right eye in 1967. He said the following about his life around the time of the accident. He said, I must have played all the clubs from Houston and Charleston until I decided I was going insane from too much beans and music, and I gave it all up. I saw a John Wayne movie and proceeded to Portland, Oregon. He wanted to be a logger. Excuse me, complete with the plaid shirt, caulky boots, and pike pole. On the way, my car slipped on the road, and the accident left me with the eye patch I now wear. When I recovered, I went right back to beans and music and vowed, here I'll stay. And there's the life of Ray Sawyer, Dr. Hook. And of course, his group, The Medicine Show, passed away. He'll be missed. 81 years old, a lot of great songs. Sharing the Night Together, Sylvia's Mother, a little bit more. Which, when you're in love with a beautiful woman. Did I say that one? Yeah, I think I said that one. And of course, the cover of a Rolling Stone, which he mocked, by the way. And when Rolling Stone put them on the cover, they actually said, what's her name? They didn't actually put Dr. Hook's name there. So, Hairspray at 8 is coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's Decades right here. The River, 105 and 103.5 around the world at Decades or JoeyKramer.com. Hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
It's 8 o'clock.
This is Ted Poley of Danger Danger.
This is Lorraine Lewis for the band Femme Fatale.
Hey, this is Kelly Kagan from Night Ranger.
And I am on Decades with Joey Kramer.
You're listening to Joe E. Kramer, Decades.
And you're rocking Decades with my buddy Joey Kramer.
This is where the past comes alive. Hairspray at 8 starts now.
All right, here we go. It's 8 o'clock and another edition of Hairspray at 8. One full hour, all the hair metal you love, appreciate from the 80s and 90s. Tom Kiefer, The Way Love Goes, 2013. He's been promoting that album for over 5 years. He's now back in the studio, and he's working on his second solo album, hopefully due out sometime in the summer, from what I hear. Who knows? Tom Kiefer, Solid Ground, kicks off Hairspray at 8. Turn it up.
Oh, you know the
How high was your hair? This is Hairspray at 8. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
See how the child might be. She sat there smoking all my cigarettes at a table set for 3. I could have cried, when she said, oh, I don't love you anymore. I was slain and shown the door. Ain't no room here anymore. Please don't look to me for help. All the pain is with yourself. All the blame is with yourself. So I went to see my friends. I tried to turn to them for help, but all that any of them said, you gotta look out for yourself. I could have cried, and she said, I don't love you anymore. I was slain and shown the door. Ain't no room here anymore. Please don't look to me for help. All the pain is with yourself. All the blame is with yourself. I say my prayers every night, but even God don't care less. Oh yeah, I could have cried, She said, I don't love you anymore. I was slain and shown the door. Ain't no room here. Please don't look to me for help. All the pain is with yourself. All the blame is with yourself. Well, I don't love you anymore. I was slain and shown the door. Ain't no room here anymore. Please don't look to me for help. All the pain is with yourself. All the blame is with yourself. Oh yeah, all the pain is with yourself. I don't love you anymore. I was slain and shown the door. Ain't no room here anymore.
It is Decades, the Choir Boys, London Choir Boys, if you will. I don't love you anymore right here on Decades. It's Joey Kramer and the Damn Yankees. This is Hairspray at 8, coming of age.
Dressed to kill and looking down said her name was Maybe. Well, she walked up to me and she asked me to chance. I said I am looking for some wild romance. She gave me a wink. She said I should think about it, maybe. She said, what you got, baby's what I need. Your kind of love got me on my knees. I'm so tired of what you got a hold on me. Your kind of love make a man out of me. I'm so tired of, you got me so fired up. Little sister, it's a stage. She can't help it, she's coming of age. Little Junior, he's all in a rage. Did you notice he was coming of age? If looks could kill, I'd be dead on the floor. You got me all tied up, honey, begging for more. Somebody call a doctor. I think I'm going crazy. Because what you got, baby's what I need. Your kind of love got me on my knees. I'm so tired of what you got a hold on me. Your kind of love make a man out of me. I'm so tired of, you got me so fired up. Little sister, it's a stage. She can't help it, she's coming of age. Little Junior, he's all in a rage. Did you notice he was coming up? Little sister, it's a stage. She can't help it, she's coming of age. Little Junior, he's all in a rage. Did you notice he was coming up? Little sister, it's a stage. She can't help it, she's coming of age. Little Junior, he's all in a rage. Did you notice he was coming of age? She's coming of age. You should come, she comes, she comes. She's coming of age. You should come, she comes, she comes.
The generation that put a hole in the ozone. Hairspray at 8 on Decades.
Out of love, there's nobody around. All I hear is the sound of a broken heart out of time. No more waiting for
Hairspray at 8 right here, and Kiss. Reason to Live. Kiss, of course, getting on their End of the Road tour, has the Best of Kiss arriving January 25th. I mean, a lot of people are upset because they're featuring Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer on the front cover in the makeup instead of Ace and Peter. Same as all the other greatest hits. Crazy, Crazy Nights, Rock and Roll All Night, I Was Made for Loving You, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, Detroit Rock City, Beth, Lick It Up, Heaven's on Fire, Tears Are Falling, Unholy, Hard Luck Woman, Psycho Circus, Shout It Out Loud, Calling Dr. Love, Christine 16, Love Gun, Shandy, I'm a Legend Tonight, Modern Day Delilah, and Hell or Hallelujah is included on this one. And, you know, I've talked to so many artists, hundreds, over the years, and one thing that was great about growing up in the 80s, and I guess for anyone, is you didn't realize the business side of it. These artists were like bigger than life to you. They were, you know, you didn't realize it was all about a lot of the money that they were making. And to a lot of them, it isn't. I talk to a lot of them every day, and they do it for the love, and then others do it to make as much cash as possible. And how much do you need? That's the question. But there is a business side, and of course, the capitalistic society, right? $10,000 and I'll shake your hand, no problem. I'll never get over that, never. All right, more Hairspray at 8 coming up. Brittany Fox, Poison, Kicks, Def Leppard, all on the way right here. Hairspray at 8. It is Decades live from Mohegan Sun, Pocono, and everywhere at therivernepa.com, Decades with JoeEKramer.com, the Radio Bold app for your iPhone or Android device, and of course, on your radio, The River, 105 and 103.5. More coming up. Hang on.
This is Hairspray at 8 with Joe E. Kramer. Turn it up.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Billy Childs from Brittany Fox, and you're listening to Decades with Joey Kramer.
before Brittany Fox. Dream On, it's Joey Kramer. Well, you will see more of Poison. Bret Michaels has confirmed that Poison will be back with new music. Not this year, of course, because Bret's working on some new music himself. He has a new song that's going to be available at the end of the month. But 2020 for another tour and an album. I Won't Forget You, it's Poison. This is Hairspray at 8.
Late at night, I close my eyes and think how things could have been. And when I look back, I remember some words you had said to me. It's better to be lost and love than never to be loved at all. I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I could, I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I should, yeah. Sometimes in my head I can still see pictures of you, and I laugh to myself when I think of all those crazy things that we used to do. All the miles come between us, just between you and me. Oh, I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I could, I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I should, well, I should let you fade away, but that just won't be me. Oh, baby. Our miles come between us, just between you and me. I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I could, I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Even though I should, yeah. I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. Memories slowly fade. I won't forget you, baby. I won't forget you. In all the plans we made, I won't forget you, baby.
This is Hairspray at 8.
The biggest hits, the river.
Feel my heart drop, wheel and get stopped.
It is Decades. Hairspray and Age. Kicks. They're back on tour. They're going to be coming locally to Penn's Peak. I believe it's in March or April, with Mike Stramp opening up and be touring across the country. Def Leppard with Tesla across Canada, and Joe Elliott recently said they didn't make a dime until Hysteria. From 95, Def Leppard, When Love and Hate Collide.
If you could ever change your heart, if you would only change your mind, instead of slamming down the phone, girl, for the 100th time, I got your number on my wall, but I ain't gonna make that call. When divided we stand, baby, united we fall. Got the time, got a chance, gonna make it. Got my hands on your heart, gonna take it. All I know, I can't fight this way. You could have a change of heart, if you would only change your mind. 'Cause I'm crazy about you, baby. Time after time, without you, one night alone. It's like a year without you, baby. Do you have a heart of stone? Without you, can't stop the hurt inside when love and hate collide. I don't wanna fight no more. I don't know what we're fighting for. When we treat each other, baby, like an act of war. I could tell a million lies, and it would come as no surprise. When the truth is like a stranger, hits you right between the eyes. There's a time and a place and a reason, and I know I gotta love to believe in. All I know, got to win this time. Without you, one night alone. It's like a year without you, baby. Do you have a heart of stone? Without you, can't stop the hurt inside when love and hate collide.
Remember when music was this good? This is Hairspray at 8 on Decades.
I've gone through changes, I've gone through pain, but it's not enough reason for me to go insane. I know the feeling, just when it grows. till early in the morning light. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, whoa, yeah, rock now, rock the night. You better believe it's right. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, whoa, oh, I know my limit, just what it takes. When things ain't good enough, I just pull the brake. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes so tough. But just have one thing clear, I can't get enough. You know it ain't easy, running out of thrills. You know it ain't easy when you don't know what you want. What do you want? Whoa, you want to rock now, rock the night, till early in the morning light. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, whoa, yeah, rock now, rock the night. You better believe it's right. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, whoa, yeah, yeah. Oh, rock now, rock the night. 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 Rock it. You know it ain't easy, running out of thrills. You know it ain't easy when you don't know what you want. What do you want? Oh, you want to rock now, rock the night, till early in the morning light. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, whoa, yeah, rock now, rock the night. You better believe it's right. Rock now, rock the night. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Rock now, rock the night, till early in the morning light. Rock now, rock the night. Oh, yeah, rock now, rock the night. You better believe it's right. Whoa, whoa.
Keeping it stiff. This is Hairspray at 8 with Joe E. Kramer.
off to sue their fans. I never got over that. It always was kind of strange to me. I understand the whole downloading music thing. Downloading bad. But they were like one of the first bands that when Napster came out, like in the, was it 99, 2000, whenever it was, they went right for the jugular. And the people that put them where they are and bought all their albums, if you downloaded one of their songs, man, they were going to sue you for $1 million. Like my daughter would say, it's whatever. Trying to figure out what that means. It's whatever like this. We got more Hairspray at 8 coming up. We're going to finish that. And then we have the Decades Artist Spotlights. Tonight, we have David Fenton. He is singer-songwriter and, of course, founder of the new wave rock band, The Vapors. Remember Turning Japanese? I'm turning Japanese. I want you to turn in Japanese. I want you to sing. So would that be politically correct if that song came out today? I don't know. But we're gonna talk to him next. It is Decades right here. Hairspray at 8 on the river, 105 and 103.5 around the world. We are Decades at decadeswithjoeykramer.com and, of course, the rivernepa.com and our radio mode app for your iPhone or Android device. So, more Decades coming up. Wrap up Hairspray at 8 and then David Fenton from The Vapors. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love it. I promise. I promise. Hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
It's 9 o'clock.
Hey, everybody, this is Ivan from Men Without Hats. Hi, everyone, this is Russell Hitchcock of Air Supply.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right, believing for so long.
Hey, everybody, it's Robert Mason from Warren.
Heaven isn't too far away. Love should do it every day.
And you're listening to Decades. You're listening to Decades. Let's all hang out with Joey Kramer on Decades.
This is the Decades Artist Spotlight. Now, here's Joe E. Kramer with this week's artist.
Oh, back to the 1980s. It was 1980. The new wave invasion was heading our way, and there were all kind of groups out there. The Flock of Seagulls. There was Devo, Gary Newman, The Cars, and, of course, a little group out of Guildford, Surrey, England called The Vapors. And David Fenton is with us tonight. He is one of the founders and voice of the Vapors. And they recently got back together, did some shows in New York City. And I had a conversation with them in the fall, around November or so, and we talked about that. So, here's our conversation with David Fenton. But first, of course, we got to get some Vapors music on. And this is their first ever single, Prisoners. The Decades Artist Spotlight starts right now.
There's someone banging on my wall. I turn the volume up to full. I don't know who it is or why they don't like me. I don't feel safe in this street. There's something nagging in my head. I turn my body out of bed. I pull the curtains on another brand new day. Mrs. Jones and friend just look away. I'm prisoner number one. I won't get parole 'cause I carry a gun. I'm prisoner number one. I'm prisoner number one. We're all prisoners. We're all prisoners. We're all prisoners here. Last thing I remember Tuesday night is 3 white wonders waiting for a fight. Mrs. Jones walked past me as I lay there on our street. She knows I'm a black boy underneath. I'm prisoner number one. I won't get parole 'cause I carry a gun. Prisoner number one. I'm prisoner number one. We're all prisoners.
is the Decades Artist Spotlight with Joe E. Kramer. This week's artist.
We are on another Decades Artist Spotlight, and tonight we are joined by singer-songwriter, co-founder of the new wave rock band The Vapors, Mr. Dave Fenton. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing very well, Joe. Thanks very much.
38 years ago, you made it. 38 years ago, you made a whole decade by this one. You know, when you hit obviously with turning Japanese, people are still singing it, and people still remember The Vapors. Did you ever imagine that?
Not at all, no. Until we had the internet, and I realised how many other people have been listening to The Vapors, I had no idea at all. I mean, when we started, there was no MTV, there was no internet, there was no anything really. Didn't know if people liked you at all.
And now you go on and you see some of your songs. I mean, you have millions of hits on YouTube, and it has to be incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
You think if these millions of people would have ended up buying your second record, things might the group might have been together.
It could have been totally different.
And that's the thing. You were only together for a few years. You recorded the two albums, Nuclear Days and Magnets, both of which, if people ever buy these albums, they don't all sound like, what we heard on the radio. The second one obviously was a little more pop, but Nuclear Days was a pretty good new wave album, especially, when it was becoming very big, especially here in the States.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it did in the States. It actually had different tracks on it in the States from what it was in the UK, but it was fairly popular. I think we just about crept into the top 40 on the single.
Yeah,
I don't know where we got to with the album, but it sold all right.
Nuclear Days was actually almost a top 40 album in the States here.
I didn't know.
And
I know that.
I have the Vapors album. The States version has the song Prisoners on it, which came out.
That's right, yeah.
It was your first song in 1979, which...
Yeah, the English version had a song called America on it, which got left off by the American record company for some reason.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Why would they leave a song like that says America?
I don't know. We'll be playing it when we come over to New York so people can get to hear it.
Unbelievable. And there was, there wasn't just, you had Turning Japanese, which was obviously your big signature hit, but you had songs like News at 10, Waiting for the Weekend, got some airplay. Song that I play on my show right now, and you might find it odd, it was from your second album. The song was called Spiders. It was something so different that when I do my playlist for my show, I like to do a lot of different stuff, and it's a song that I've actually played on my show more than your big hits.
Really? Yeah, well, it was great fun making Spiders because we got backwards guitar and all sorts of things on there that we enjoyed messing about with. We didn't get much chance to experiment in the studio until the second album.
What is the thing? You made the two albums. The first album, was that a very quick thing that you had to put together?
Well, let's say all the songs were ready and we've been playing them for a while, so there was nothing really new on the album. It was all stuff we've been playing for a few months, or if not years. And it's like anyone with their first album. You got all the songs you've ever written up to that point that you can choose from. So we had more than enough songs to cover the first album.
So the turnaround when you did your second album, I guess there was a pretty quick turnaround because you had a hit, and I'm imagining that the record label probably wanted you to get a second album out there. Yeah,
it was difficult because we were touring so much. We didn't spend much time in the UK at all, really. And then suddenly the record company turned around and say, like, "Where's the next album?" We go, So while we were touring, we were trying stuff out during sound checks, trying out new tunes and writing as we were touring.
And I hear that a lot. Second albums by bands are always done on the road. And it always seems, I hear the same story, that it never lived up to what they wanted to do because they didn't have time to sit down and actually, think about these songs and try them out.
Yeah, that's the same with us, yeah.
And did you play the song? I guess you might have done this. Some of the new songs you were writing, did you ever try those out in concert before you put them onto Magnets?
Yeah, if it got good enough, if we were happy with them, then we'd play them live. Yeah, definitely. Well, there's one or two songs we used to play live that never actually got on an album. There's a song called Secret Noise that, frankly, we used to start most of the sets with. Every time we play, we'd usually start with that because it's a nice, fast up-tempo track. But we never actually released it. We tried recording it in the studio, and it came out a bit too fast. So we didn't go put it on the first album. It never made it to the second album, so it's still unreleased, as it were.
Still out there.
Even though all our fans know it because we play it every time we play.
Now, one of the... I saw that earlier in your career, which one of my favorite bands, especially in the early 80s, was The Jam, and you were able to open up for them as you were their opener.
That's really coincidental that when we were playing a small gig near Guildford, where we came from, there was only about 20 people there, but one of them was Bruce Foxton, the bass player with The Jam. And he said, I really like you guys. Do you want to do some, supports on our Jam tour in next spring? This was spring of 1979. So we said yes, and he was good as his word and gave us a couple of support slots with The Jam. So that's how it started, and that's where John Weller saw us as well, because he was The Jam's manager, and John and Bruce together offered to manage us. So that was a real big, boost from playing to, in a pub of 20 people, one of whom was Bruce Foxton. He really made things happen for us, along with John Weller.
And did your life seem to change a lot when, Turning Japanese became a worldwide hit? Did you see things changing? Because you were on Top of the Pops in America. You were on Solid Gold.
Only in terms of what we've just been speaking about, that everything just got hectic. We were out touring more, away more. We were number one in Australia, I don't know if you know that, but we went out there to tour, for about a month, I think. And then fitted America in on the way back because we were flying over it. We thought we might as well drop in and do a few gigs there because we hadn't planned to release anything. But the single started selling on import in New York, and that changed the record company's mind, really. So everything started kicking off then, early 80. And yeah, it was strange. I mean, the first time ever that my radio alarm woke me up with my own song was just amazing. I think, what do you think? The world is just so small when that sort of thing happens.
And you were on, I know in the UK, Top of the Pops. Here we had American Bandstand, and we had another show called Solid Gold. And I think when you were on it, it's on your Facebook page, Dionne Warwick was the host. When you look back, it was a very cheesy show, but I kind of miss those shows from the 80s.
It was good. I mean, it's great. I only recently saw that again. Somebody just put it on one of the Vapors websites.
It's a miracle what the internet shows us.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing what gets thrown up. Stuff we've forgotten about completely.
So you have this massive hit, you have 2 albums, and then you walk away. And I guess the question is, why did you decide, 2 albums are done, and now I'm going to walk away from this?
There's a number of reasons. Everything went really well for us in 1979-80, but then we had a year that everything went horribly wrong. The record company we'd signed up to, United Artists, had a great roster of bands you would have heard of, like the Buzzcocks and the Stranglers.
Right.
They got bought out by EMI, and it was a bit like joining the civil service. You could walk into United Artists and talk to the managing director and have a chat and sort your problems out. Open door policy. Going to EMI, it was like joining the civil service. Like I said, you had to make appointments. We walked in there the first day. That the follow-up to Turn Japanese was due out, the news at 10. And the day it was due for release, we went in to see our A&R man and see what was going on, how it was picking up in the shops and all that stuff. And he didn't even know it had been released. He had no idea. So, it's all very well, but EMI are only really interested in EMI bands like Duran Duran, Kate Bush, and all the famous ones, Beatles, etc. They inherited us and had nothing to do with us. So they weren't the people that signed us. The people that signed us got made redundant. So that was the first thing that went wrong. Then John and Bruce decided that they were in France doing a European tour, and we were in New York, and they couldn't look after us. The strange thing was that the first number one they had was the same week that we had number 3 in the UK chart.
Right.
So suddenly everything got frantically busy, and everyone was in different parts of the world, and we had no management effectively. So we lost our management, we lost our record company. It just went, as I say, it just went horribly wrong.
It's odd. I hear that a lot. You have a song that's popular, and the record company isn't essentially getting behind the song anymore.
No, it wasn't.
So in the second
album, the people that were working at EMI inherited us and didn't necessarily like us.
So it's safe to say the Magnets got 0 promotion.
Well, yeah, to my mind, I don't know what promotion it did have, but I was very happy with the cover and so on, and Dave Tickle did a great job in producing it. But I don't know what happened after that. It just didn't seem to get any push.
Oh, it's in color. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are hazel and soft as clouds. I often kiss you when there's no one else around. I got your picture. I'd like a million of you all around my cell. I want a doctor to take a picture so I can look at you from inside as well. You got me turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning right, I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I got your picture. I'd like a million of them around myself. I want a doctor to take a picture so I can look at you from inside as well. You got me turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning right, I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no fun, no sin, no you, no wonder it's dark. Everyone around me is a total stranger. Everyone avoids me like a cyclone ranger. Everyone. That's why I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so.
This week's Decades Artist Spotlight continues. Now, here's Joe E. Kramer with this week's artist.
We are on a Decades Artist Spotlight this week. David Fenton, creator of The Vapors. And, of course, their big one you just heard, Turning Japanese. That's the song that took MTV by storm back in the 1980s. Ironically, it wasn't a huge hit. It only hit number 36 here in the States, but it's one of those songs that just grew bigger than the decade. And to this day, everybody recognizes Turning Japanese as a song that defines the 1980s when you hear it. Those first opening riffs of the synthesizer, we know exactly what it is. We're going to get back to our second part of our interview with David Fenton from The Vapors, talk about what's going on now, and of course the concerts that were scheduled this fall. That and more, it is the Decades Artist Spotlight right here. Decades on the River, 105 and 103.5 around the world at Decades with JoeEKramer.com. Hang on.
This is the Decades Artist Spotlight.
Northeast PA's The River. Time's gonna make you a man someday, and you won't wanna go out and play with your friends. Just sit at home and watch news at 10, and the pubs will be closed, and you won't have been with your friends. been working real hard and you feel real sick with the whole world. And your feelings in the oven and it's all dried up. And your mom don't like it cause you messed her up for the evening. So you pick up the paper and appear to be quite serious. And you smile at him and agree cause he's your old man. But still I can't hear you. You make no sense to me. Still I can't hear you. When the time comes I disagree with your policy. Your policy. Your policy. Your policy. Time gonna make you a man someday, and you won't wanna go out and play. You just sit at home and watch news at 10, and the pubs will be closed and you won't have been. And you get home from work about 6:30. You've been working real hard and you feel real sick, and your dinner's in the oven and it's all dried up. And your mom don't like it 'cause you messed her up, but you don't wanna sit tight, you don't wanna play cool, you don't wanna hold life like your first day at school. And you don't wanna fight wars, and I wanna die young. So don't keep saying like father, like son, I can't hear you. You make no sense to me. I can't hear you. When the time comes I disagree, but still I can't hear you. I said you make no sense to a boy like me. I can't hear you.
It is the Decades Artist Spotlight. Couldn't hear myself. He can't hear him, I can't hear myself. It's the Vapors on the Decades Artist Spotlight.
This week's Decades Artist Spotlight continues. Now, here's Joe E. Kramer with this week's artist.
Maybe it's old age. Maybe the hearing's gone. Swear I couldn't hear myself in my headphones. David Fenton from the Vapors is with us tonight in the Decades Artist Spotlight. Let's get right back to it. So am I right in saying that you, after this, you became, I read that you became a lawyer? Is that correct?
Well, to be totally correct, I was a lawyer before I started doing the band.
Oh, okay.
I qualified in 1977 as a solicitor, which is an attorney in your country. And then thought, well, I've got all the bits of paper I need to go back to a safe job as a lawyer, so I'll try and get a record deal now. And I did that, and I qualified 77, gave up in 78, gave up law in 78, and 79 I got a record deal. So I did that, so I qualified as a lawyer. I did law for a year. Then I did the band for two years, and that sort of rolled on to about 15 years altogether, doing music, producing, sound engineering, playing in bands, writing. And then when it came time to think about having a family, I went back to law because it was a safer job and there was the income. Trouble with music income is to make more of it, you have to play out more,
right?
Tour more. So I would have been away. You don't want to be away when your kids are growing up.
Absolutely. And what was your primary practice in law? Who did you represent?
I'm not really allowed to say.
Well, I mean, were you representing? Did you stick with the music
for the
business?
last 17, I started off in private practice in a small law firm that specialised in music.
That's what I mean.
And then one of my clients was the Musicians Union. And I ended up working in-house for the Musicians Union because it suited both of us. It was cheaper for the MU, and it was an employed job as opposed to being self-employed for me. So that worked well for like I said, 17 years altogether. So I spent about 20 years doing law, previous 15 years doing music, and when I retired from law, which I took early retirement in 2016, just to get the band back on the road, really, because it looked like fun. Everyone else is having fun. I thought it was my turn, and so we got back together in 2016. Just did 4 dates, and that was it, really. Just dipping a toe in the water to see what happened, and there was an interest, as you say, that there's a lot of people. I didn't realise that we were still so popular and that people were still going on about turning Japanese. I mean, I don't listen to the radio an awful lot, but I still hear it once in a while. which is amazing after 38 years, as you say. It's not new.
What made? I mean, you just said you decided you retired, and you decided to get the band back together. But why did it feel right at that time? Because this was 35 years later that you decided.
Well, we did try before in 2001. We had a couple of rehearsals, and it was going all right, but nobody was in the same place at the same time.
Right.
I mean, Ed makes TV films, and he was working for the BBC at the time. Doing holiday programs, he was always abroad, so we couldn't actually get around to rehearse very much. So that put the kibosh on it first time round. Second time round, we still got the same problem with Ed in terms of he's working a lot of the time making TV films. But as long as we play weekends, you can usually fit it in. So we try and we're a weekend band, really. So when you
strapped it all on and you were ready to go, did you say, "Oh my God, now I got to learn these songs again," or did you remember everything?
It took me most of 2016 to do that. I mean, some of them came back quite easily, especially the lyrics and the tunes. Others, I really had to, dig into the tapes and have a good listen to what I was playing, because I couldn't even remember how I played it or what I was playing.
It's not just about reading.
It did take me most of 2016 to get up to speed again.
It's not just about reading music, which I'm assuming that doesn't even. A lot of bands don't even have sheet music and stuff. They're doing this.
No, we don't.
On the fly.
So I could get a lyric sheet out. Well, in fact, you just go on the internet and get lyric sheets. And some of them tell you, which chord goes with the tune. But some of it I couldn't work out because I was using odd chords. Some of it I actually couldn't work out for quite a while.
So you're back in this. Go ahead.
Even though I was listening to it, I couldn't work out how I'd played it. So, there was a lot of homework to do.
Obviously. So you're back in the States. You got a couple sold-out shows at the Mercury Lounge. That's got to surprise you after all these years. I mean, you're selling out.
Well, what surprised us was the American fans were seeing all this stuff going on in England and seeing videos of us playing here. They kept saying, when you coming over? When you coming over? And we just kept saying, well, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. So they got one of these crowdfunding things together, and the American fans and some of the British fans effectively paid for us to go to America.
And the response has been great.
Visas are jolly expensive, and you got flights and hotels, equipment hire, etc., etc. It mounts up, and it's difficult to get to come away with a profit unless you've got a promoter there that's willing to help out. Which we did, we didn't in the first place, but then one of our fans stepped forward and did everything to help us get sorted out. So we got the visas in July now. It took ages, it took months. I think we started in January.
So you got these three
ages to get everything together, but we have got it all together now, including flights and hotels and you name it, and we'll be there.
And you got these dates in New York. I see that after that you're going to the UK. Any plans of coming back to the States? After that?
Again,
I know the expense.
It's all down to the money.
Right.
It's just so expensive, and the visas cost a fortune.
Right.
I don't think it's like that for American artists coming to play in the UK. I don't think they have to pay half as much as we do to come and play in the US.
I hear that all the time. It's odd enough. Is I just got a promotional video from someone who sets me up with different interviews and everything. He sent me a promotional video of a new tour called Lost 80s Live, and they show a ton of bands that I'll be performing on, and the Vapors were actually in the promotional video. Now, did you know anything about that? Is there any...
that's American, Canadian, and South America as well, I think. Yeah, we said we'd do that if it all comes together.
If it comes together, it's a phenomenal show because
That'll be August, September next year, 2019.
2019. It's got a phenomenal lineup. I mean,
but I think you only get to play about 3 songs each. So whether that will suit the fans or not, I don't know.
Well, they did
you can guess which songs we'll be playing, probably.
You think? Retro Futura did a thing like that too, and they each band I think did 4 songs, 5 songs, and then the quote headliner did like 6 songs. So I imagine that's what it would be about. Now, one more. I know you got limited time. You're in rehearsals. I guess the last question I got to ask you is: it's been all these years. Do you have new songs that you would somewhat... Yeah. Music has changed. So now, would you ever think of releasing a single, an album?
Yes, we would. Yes, we have got new songs. We do play them live. You can see some of them on YouTube when people get around to filming them on their cameras, on their phones.
And you have no problem with that, right? You want... Because it's promotion.
No, yeah, it's all good promotion for us.
So is there any talks of...
So, yeah, we got loads of new songs. You'll hear some of them if you come to the New York Mercury Lounge gigs. That's the difficulty we've got, actually. We've got so many songs, I don't know whether people want to hear the old ones or the new ones, or a bit of both. Or...
Well, it's a good problem to have.
Somebody by not playing something they want to hear. So.
My question is, though, are you going to actually think of releasing them, like, as a formal...
Well, yeah, again, we need the money for recording.
Everything comes down to that nowadays. And now,
it all comes down to money, yeah.
And now
we can't get studio time free, so we have to pay for it.
But the good thing is a lot of stuff could be done, like, on a laptop computer nowadays. You know, people could be all over the world, and you can mix everything together.
We've done a few demos with the drums laid down in the studio, and then take the tapes away, put them on the computer, and try adding to them. So we're still working through that. We've only done our first 6 demos so far.
Fantastic, Dave. We're on a Decades Artist Spotlight. We're here with Dave Fenton. I know you're in rehearsals for your New York shows. He, of course, is the vocalist of the Vapors. Hopefully, you get out and see them, and hopefully we hear something new from the Vapors in the future. Dave, it's been fantastic talking to you. I do appreciate it.
And you. Lovely speaking to you, Joe. Hi, this is David Fenton from the Vapors, and I'm on Decades with Joey Kramer.
She's got spiders inside her head. She's in danger, she's easily led. She's on missions from morning till night. She takes pictures with infrared light. Secret agent with CP19. I still love you with CP19. But every morning when she jumps out of bed, she shakes the spiders playing inside her head. Oh my baby, what shall we do? Baby's in a black web, I feel blue. Johnny's in the corner shop waiting for you. He's got lots of... Look out, Johnny, she's got spiders inside her head. She can't control her baby spiders. She wants him dead. She's got radar, remote control. She's got TV in every home. She's got cameras behind her eyes. She's warm and dangerous in every disguise. Oh my baby, what shall we do? Baby's in a black web, I'm feeling blue. Johnny's in the corner shop waiting for you. He's got lots of... Look out, Johnny, she's got spiders around the door. She can't control her baby spiders anymore.
This week's Decades Artist Spotlight continues. Now, here's Joe E. Kramer with this week's artist.
A favorite song by them, that's Spiders. That's from their album Magnets. If you like Turning Japanese, you got to even pick up their greatest hits. Their album Nuclear Days and Magnets are sold together. I think it's like $9 for the two of them. And these are the bands, unlike some of the bands that are making millions upon millions of dollars. These are the bands that are still, you know, like he said, it all comes down to money, whether they can play shows in the United States. It's very expensive over here, and it's huge to tour the States. But hopefully we will see the Vapors back in the States very soon. And like he said, maybe some new music. We'll find out. And, of course, you'll hear it right here on the Decades Artist Spotlight. We have more Decades coming up. Don't go anyway. Matthew Wilder, a great remix of Break My Stride. I'll do REO Speedwagon. Jennifer Love Hewitt, her hit from the 1990s. That's in there. Huey Lewis and the News, Bon Jovi, and a whole lot more. Stay right here. We are live everywhere in the world at decadeswithjoeykramer.com. Also at the River, NEPA.com. We're on Facebook, Decades with Joey Kramer. We're also on the Radio Bold app, which you can download in your iStore, either for iPhone or Android, and just type in Radio Bold. Absolutely free. There are no tricks. You're not going to have to sign up for a free trial and then be charged every month. This is free. Absolutely free. And you can hear the River anytime, any place. Plus all the great Bold Gold media stations. We'll be right back. More Decades coming up. Hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
It's 10 o'clock.
Hi there, this is Howard Jones.
Hey, this is Coons from John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. This is Nick Richards from Boys Don't Cry.
I wanna be a cowboy. You can be my cowgirl.
And you're listening to Decades with Joey Kramer.
You're listening to Decades with Joey Kramer.
I've been listening to Joey Kramer's Decade Show, which is the business.
This is where the past comes alive. Decades with Joe E. Kramer starts now.
And we head on into the 10 o'clock hour. It's been a fun night. How did you miss David Fenton of the Vapors? If you missed it, you can check it out at the website, decadeswithjoeykramer.com. I'll have it up there on Monday, Tuesday, as the absolute latest. Next Saturday night, Shadow Steel will be joining us. Singing with the Sam will be back, and a whole lot more, so you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss Matthew Wilder either. We had him on the show a couple years back, and hopefully getting him back very soon. The remix, Break My Stride. This is Decades.
Last night I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China in a little rowboat to find you, and you said you had to get your laundry clean. Didn't want no one to hold you. What does that mean? And you said, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. You're on a roll and now you pray it lasts. The road, the iron
air, online, and on your mobile device. Decades is everywhere. Everywhere. Joey Kramer. Turn it up. This is Decades.
And these are the things you remember from the 1980s and 1990s. I found a list of things that we actually miss, according to this article from the 80s. Some you'll remember, and some you'll say, huh? talk about it coming up. I miss Howard Jones, but he ain't gone anywhere. Life in One Day. This is Decades.
The old man said to me, said, don't always take life so seriously. Play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. Grass is never greener over there. Time will wear away the stone. Gets the hereditary bone. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. The old man said to me, said you can't change the world single-handedly. Raise a glass and enjoy the scenery. Pretend the water is champagne and fill that glass again and again while the wolves are gathering round your door. Time will wear away the stone. Yes, the hereditary bone. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. The old man said to me, said, don't always take life so seriously. Play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. Grass is never greener over there. Time will wear away the stone. Gets the hereditary bone. I try to live my life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. I've been tough more than I can chew. Only so much you can do. Words are gathering round my door. Ask them in and you find some more. I try to live my life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life in one day. Don't try to live your life in Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer and another lost track from the 90s.
Every day I wake up to another day gone by. Nothing but the open road and the never-ending why. Anything can happen, yeah, but nothing ever does. I try to change, it's kind of strange, same as it ever was. Now look it up, how do I deal with you? How do I deal with me? When I don't even know myself or what it is you want from me. How do I deal with us? How do I know what's real? When I don't even trust myself or what it is I feel. And how do I And every night in the dark, I lie awake in bed. How am I supposed to dream with all the static in my head? Torn in all directions and I pray for some relief. What can I do but feel the weight I'm underneath and grip my cheek? And how do I deal with you? How do I deal with me? When I don't even know myself or what it is you want from me. How do I deal with love? Why do I have to choose? Everybody's telling me what the hell I have to do. And how do I deal
a little too loud. Jennifer Love Hewitt. How Do I Feel from 1995. That was actually featured in I Still Know What You Did last summer. They all tried to be singers. It was no different in the 70s and in the 80s. Actresses always wanted to sing, going all the way back to Cheryl Ladd back in the 70s. She was on Charlie's Angels, and she wanted to become a singer. So, you know, they tried to make it happen. But like Lindsay Lohan in the 2000s, Jennifer Love Hewitt in the 90s, they all wanted to sing. And they got on the radio, so who am I to stop them? We were talking a little bit about the things we missed from the 1980s. So I found a list. I could always find a list. That's the great thing about the internet age. ColecoVision. Who remembers ColecoVision? I mean, there was Intellivision, there was Atari, and then there was ColecoVision. Did you own a ColecoVision? I think I played it once. It was great. It had an awesome version of Donkey Kong, and I think they only made about 5 other games on it. Clothing stores in the 80s. Remember these? County Seat, Chess King, Merry-Go-Round. I remember that. Davy Jones Locker, The Limited, and Tom McCann, all from the 1980s. Of course, remember MTV when it had videos. The USFL from the 1980s. The XFL is starting again next year. So a rebirth. They should bring back the USFL. I really enjoyed that. Blockbuster Video. Now, I remember locally there was one video store, and I believe it was called... I can't even remember. It's slipping me. But it was in Kingston. It was on the corner. But I remember when they first opened, they charged $100 for a membership to the video store. But they were the only game in town. If you wanted to rent videos, you rented it right there. Video World. That was the name of it. $100 for a lifetime membership. No fees apply other than hundreds of dollars. Never got one. I don't think I ever had a membership until Blockbuster. We got more decades coming up. We'll talk more about this list, too. I'm going to look through it. Oh, I see jelly bracelets. Even the guys wore them. More decades coming up right here at the River 105 and 103.5. Hang on.
And do not attempt to change the frequency.
Changing channels is not only foolhardy, but also extremely dangerous.
We know. That's what everybody says.
So I don't believe you ought to try it.
Now, back to the music. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
Hey, this is Steve Lucas here from Toto, and you're listening to Decade with Joey Kramer.
I hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. Coming in 12:30 flight, the moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become. Gonna take the light that drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever
photo booths that used to be in the middle of the parking lot. You'd go there and get you drop your pictures off, and hopefully sometime within the next 3 days, the pictures would actually be ready. That was the next on my list here. The photo mat, as they call it. I got more. Go-Go's right here. Get Up and Go from Fast Times and Ridgemont High.
It's Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
The biggest hits forever.
Touch me.
This is the night.
Touch me. Touch me. I wanna feel your body. Full moon in the
getting a lot of guys through puberty. Teenage guys in the 1980s. Touch Me, I Want Your Body. It's Joey Kramer. Another one on the list of things that we missed from the 80s. Do you remember the pump sneakers? Pump sneakers actually originated in the 80s. And the thing was, if you pumped them, you were told that you were going to be able to dunk a basketball. So there we were. None of us were over 5'3", 5'2", and we were trying to pump our shoes and dunk a basketball. I wish I had video. New album, Light, from Culture Club. Church of the Poison Mind.
There's no loving in your eyes. You used to make my life so sweet. Step out like a Gotham child. I saw your eyes across the street. Who would be the fool to take you to be more than just kind? Step into a life of maybe love. It's hard to find in the church of the poison night. In the church of the poison night. In the church of the poison night. In the church of the poison. Watch me clinging to the beat. I had to fight to make it mine. That religion, you can sink it beneath. Just move your feet or you'll feel fine. Who would be the fool to maybe trip a kiss in time? Am I to say that's crazy love? Will make you blind in the church of the poison night. In the church of the poison night. In the church of the poison night. In the church of the There's enough loving in your eyes. You used to make my life so sweet. Step out like a Gotham child. I saw your eyes across the street. Who would be the fool to take you deep? More than just kind. Step into a life of maybe love. It's hard to find in the church of the poison night. 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 In the church of the poison night.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
Joe E. Kramer. way, 'cause I love it. You. Yeah, and it's true. La-di-da, twinkly-dee. Do you believe in a girl like me? Son, this is the one for you to be with. But when I'm caught all alone, I start fessing. It's from state of depression. And then the thunderclouds of doubt move in. I begin to wonder, do you still love me? But after that, my whole world is beautiful.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer and another lost track from the 80s.
petty. He's a funky little featherberry waterfowl. Come into my tub of love.
Everybody went in to see that movie because it was a George Lucas movie, and like Star Wars, But here we should have known after Return of the Jedi that after the Ewoks that we'd get something like Howard the Duck, and George Lucas gave up a lot of stuff to do this movie. He stepped down as the president of Lucasfilm to focus on producing films, including Howard the Duck. That song, by the way, is by the Cherry Bombs, who the lead singer at the time, well, just for the movie anyway, was Leah Thompson. And she was just off of Back to the Future. So, she said, oh, this is a leading role for me now. She actually had to then do Some Kind of Wonderful just to get people's mind off of her performance in Howard the Duck. And it wasn't even her performance. I mean, nobody could do anything. Thomas Dolby did the soundtrack. George Clinton helped write the songs. Tim Robbins was in this movie. So this wasn't a movie that was made up of a lot of people. God, you say, who are they? And then, I don't know what I should say. And the worst part about it is I like it. Not so much then, but when I watch it now, I get a real kick out of it. Howard the Duck. All right, we got more decades coming up. Another hour's worth. Kenny Loggins, a lost track from Tiffany as her career faded in the early 1990s. She had an album called New Inside. I'm going to play a song off that. Remember Menudo? Yeah, they never really made it big here. They had a Saturday morning TV show. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And, of course, the one and only Weird Al Yankovic. Straight ahead. This is Decades on the River 105 and 103.5.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
It's 11 o'clock.
Hey there, this is John Oates. Hi, this is Jay King from Club Nouveau.
Lean on me, we are not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.
Hey, this is Jeff Pilson from Foreigner.
You are listening to Decades with Joey Kramer.
And you're listening to Decades with Joey Kramer. And you're listening to my good pal Joe E. Kramer on Decades.
This is where the past comes alive. Decades with Joe E. Kramer starts now.
All right, here we go. 5 full hours of retro radio as we wind things down for another Saturday night. They're remaking Footloose. No, they're really not. They actually thought about a TV show, and then they went with the remake of the movie, which didn't turn out well either, but it had Juliana Hough in it, so I guess that makes things okay. Kenny Loggins, 1984.
Everybody cut loose, put it loose, kick it off the Sunday shoes. Ooh-wee, Marie, shake it for me. Oh, my Lord, come on, let's go. Loose, you're loose, everybody cut loose.
On air, online, and on your mobile device. Decades is everywhere, everywhere, everywhere.
Sometimes there's a time you must say goodbye. Though it hurts, you must learn to try. I know I've got to let you go, but I know anywhere you go, you'll never be far. It's like a night of a bright star, you keep shining in my life. You're gonna be right here in my heart. That's where you'll be. You'll be with me here in my heart.
the name of the album back in 1990 here in my heart. New album is called Pieces of Me. And of course, out of the mixtape tour this summer, Naughty by Nature, Salt and Pepper, New Kids, and Debbie Gibson. You do not want to miss it. I guarantee it.
Joey Kramer. Turn it up. This is Decades.
All right, and this is the band that woke me up on Saturday mornings. I remember they had a Saturday morning show. They were huge. Menudo. If Menudo do you say? I remember that song. This was the one, Big in America. Hold me.
Every time I see you, you look so good. You've got that magic, like a girl should. I just wanna tell you exactly how I feel. I want you to know, girl, that my love for you is for real. Oh yeah, I will never turn my back on you now. It doesn't matter, baby, what you do. Oh girl, I'll never let you down. I'll always be around, just as long as you hold me and you tell me all the sweet things that I need to hear. It's been so long since I felt as strong as I feel for you. I just want you to hold me. Let me show you how love can make our dreams come true. Let me hold you and I'll give you all that you'll ever need. Please just believe me. Whenever I call you, you're never at home. My friends keep saying that I'm in love alone. When they start talking, I turn the other way. Girl, I want you to know that I need you so. I don't care what other people say, as long as you hold me and you tell me all the sweet things that I need to hear. It's been so long since I felt as strong as I feel for you. I just want you to hold me. Let me show you how love can make our dreams come true. Let me hold you and I'll give you all that you'll ever need. Please. I will never turn my back on you now. It doesn't matter, baby, what you do. Oh girl, I'll never let you down. I'll always be around. I just want you to hold me and you tell me all the sweet things that I need to hear. It's been so long since I felt as strong as I feel for you. I just want you to hold me. Let me show you how love can make our dreams come true. Let me hold you and I'll give you all that you'll ever need. I want you to hold me and tell me all the sweet things that I need to hear. It's been so long since I felt as strong as I feel.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer and another lost track from the 90s.
Leroy.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that boy Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson, he the boy that played football for Montreal, ain't he?
No, you old goop. He a boxer, man. Let me tell you, I went to his fight a couple months ago. I seen him hit that boy. And he hit that boy so hard, his head flew off into the 18th row. He had to go get his head out the 18th row. I was in Jeff's crib one night about 8, and we were watching a couple of Mike Tyson fight tapes. Jeff was like, man, you see how hard Mike's punching? Come on, Jeff, the other guy was just lunging. Left, right, another KO. If that was me, I'd have been okay, though. The very next day, I gave Russell a ring with JL and Leora, and we all called Don King. I said, yeah, Don, I got a problem. Tell him, Prince. Yeah, what's up? What you saying? You trying to solve them? Forget the small talk. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. Me and Mike, 2 months. Trump, Atlantic City. Yo, you got this. You wanna bust dude up. Yeah, you can be my trainer. Word up? I'm rough like a freight train, smooth like ice. And yo, Jeff, straight up, I think I can beat Mike Tyson. Man, you can beat him, man. Oh, man, word up. Beat him, man. You know, I put on a couple pounds, man. We can do this, man. Do it.
Extra, read all about it. Get this. Fresh Prince challenges Iron Mike Tyson to a fight.
Ain't that the boy who knocked the guy's head in the 15th row?
Hey, Leroy, you read the paper? That boy done lost his mind. There was a press conference to see what training I was doing. Before then, I had never heard reporters booing, cameras flashing. I was in the middle. I didn't want to look dumb, so I exaggerated a little. I said, I've been training 20 hours a day, lifting big old cars and big bales of hay. And I jog 10,000 miles every morning, thinking about Mike and my moment of glory. I drink water 20 gallons of pop, and I can throw a Volkswagen a whole half block. And 4 million sit-ups in a minute. I ain't lying, I did it. The general public thought I was a fool. I was getting dissed, but I guess that was cool. Well, you know, getting dissed is never good, but I was even getting dissed in my own neighborhood. I was at the corner at the top of my block. There was a couple of people standing outside of the barber shop. It was Lawrence, my barber and friend, and he yelled out,
Hey, Prince, you could win.
I said, really? And I stopped the chat.
You could beat him, man, if you hit him with a bat. You gon' get wrecked, but you can have your shoes when you break your neck.
Everybody was laughing out loud. I thought at least my own grandma would be proud. I went to her house and snuck in and surprised her. I heard her on the phone.
I found the box on Tyson.
It's fight day, and man, am I hyped. Whoa, I can't wait to see Mike. Boy, I'm hyped, ready to do my thing. Trump Castle Casino. Sliding and grabbing, slipping and dipping, hustling and jabbing. For a second, I looked good out there, but then Mike brought to reality my worst nightmare. One punch, that's all it took. He hit me in my ribs and my inside shook. Now how can I say this and be a little discreet? Let's just say that my bowels released. I called time out and went back to my corner. Said to my coach, ain't no way I'm going to hell back out there, man, you can't forget it. My body's like a punching bag and Mike is gonna hit it. They tried to make me go meet my doom, but I sucker punched my coach and hauled to my dressing room. The next day, the headline in the town, Fresh Prince breaks camp, Tyson wins first round. Some fool asked why I ran away. I said a good run is better than a bad stand any day. My career is over as far as fighting, but I don't know what made me think I could beat Mike Tyson. Hey, Leroy!
Yeah?
Did you see the fight? Did you see the fight?
The football player?
The boxer, come on, man. I was at the fight last night. I paid $474,000 for my ticket, right?
But I seen you around here.
The ball ran out the ring.
Always lying.
I ain't lying.
A lot of his
I seen it. Mike Tyson punched the ball in his rib, and his leg fell off. His leg fell off, and it fell over and knocked the HBO cameraman camera out of his hand. I said, God damn. I couldn't believe it, Leroy.
You gotta love it, right? I think I could beat Mike Tyson. Not a lost track from the 90s, by the way. I played the wrong thing there ahead of it. A lost track from the 80s, 1988. One of my, I think that's my favorite song by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And we were talking about things from the 80s, and their name popped up. This is going back 30 years ago, okay? 30 years ago, about 31 years ago, I guess you could say. Batman was the biggest movie of the year. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Lethal Weapon 2 were in second and third. We had Back to the Future 2, Honey, to Shrunk the Kids. For the adult crowd, we had Steel Magnolia and Field of Dreams. Sean Connery was named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. Uma Thurman was on the Hot Issue of Rolling Stone. and Parents Just Don't Understand by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince won the first ever Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance. Feeling old yet? Figured you would. 30 years ago, January 2019, that all happened. I have a couple more on that list I'll talk about in a little bit. Meanwhile, we're almost done tonight, but I still got some more music coming up. Got the Communards, got the theme from The Sopranos by the Alabama 3, known as A3. We got Weird Al. Don't go anywhere. This is Decades on the River, 105 and 103.5 around the world at the river, nepa.com. Decades with joeekramer.com and the Radio Bold app. For your Apple or iPhone device, you can get it free. Absolutely free. Download it today. More Decades coming up.
Do not attempt to change the frequency.
Changing channels is not only foolhardy, but also extremely dangerous.
We know. That's what everybody says.
So I don't believe you ought to try it.
Now, back to the music. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
actually came out from the Alabama 3.
It's Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
The biggest hits.
Turn it up.
Forever.
Gonna take you down, deep down to the front line. You woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Your mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said you're 1 in a million, you got to burn the shine. You were born under a bad sign with a blue moon in your eye. And you woke up this morning, all that love had gone. Your papa never told you about right and wrong. But you're looking good, baby. I believe that you're feeling fine. Shade my body, born under a bad sign with a blue moon in your eyes. So sing it now. Woke up this morning, got a blue moon, got a blue moon in your eyes. So sad, goddamn shade my body. Woke up this morning, got a blue moon in your eyes. Listen, you woke up this morning, the world turned upside down. Load of other things ain't been the same since the blues walked in our town. But you 1 in a million, 'cause you got that shotgun shine. Shade my body, born under a bad sign with a blue moon in your eyes. Woke up this morning, you got a blue moon in your eyes. So sad, goddamn shade my body. Woke up this morning, got a blue moon in your eyes. Yeah, I know it. You just can't help yourself. Yeah. Just can't help yourself. Mr. Dwayne.
When you woke up this morning, everything was gone by. Half past 10, your head going ding dong, ringing like a bell from your head down to your toes. Like some boys trying to tell you there's something you should know. Last night you were flying, but today is so low. Way the time flies, makes you wonder if you'll ever know. I've seen enough things as they appear to the others. Wives, husbands, brothers, fathers, sisters, their brothers. Don't you wish you didn't function? Don't you wish you didn't think me on the next paycheck and the next little day for your dues? So make up your mind to go on. 'Cause when you woke up this morning, everything you had was gone. Woke up this morning. Woke up this morning. Woke up this morning. You wanna be the chosen one. Yeah, you know it. Just can't help yourself, yeah. Woke up this morning. Woke up this morning. Woke up this morning. Got yourself a gun. Got yourself a gun. Got yourself a gun.
Blasting out the hits. The Master Blaster. This is Decades with Joe E. Kramer.
Just a young girl and still in school. How come you never learned the golden rule? Don't talk to strange men, don't be a fool. I'm hearing stories, I don't think that's cool. Why don't you tell me someone is loving you? 'Cause you're my girl, some say it's no longer true. You're seeing some slick continental dude. I'm begging you, please don't talk to strangers. Baby, don't you go. Don't talk to strangers. You know he'll only use you. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk to what's getting back to me. Now who's this? Done what I've been hearing of. Love hurts when only one's in love. Did you fall at first sight or did you need a shove? I'm begging you, please don't talk to strangers. Baby, don't you talk to strangers. You know he'll only use you out. Don't talk to nobody ever told you. What she saying, baby? I asked you not to talk to him. I'm begging you, don't talk to strangers. Baby, don't you talk to strangers. You know he'll only use you up. Don't talk to him. Nobody ever told you. Don't talk to strangers. Baby, don't you talk to strangers. You know he'll only use you up. Talk to strangers. Baby, don't you talk, baby, don't you just
Joey Kramer. Turn it up. This is Decades.
And I remember when this song first came out, I was working at a radio station where we played it every hour for the entire weekend. Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, that moment said to me, and my voice filled with pain, way away, young man. Said I'm gonna fight a war, gonna fight for my country and come for land. He said, my son, will never hurt you, never harm you, never one, but you must realize. If you try to stare at doubt, you will win in the end. She will burn your eyes, she will burn them. Seen a million places, seen a million faces die. But I wonder who will walk with me when I get to heaven. Yeah, then boy, I was young once. Yeah, I was tough, still on Uncle Sam's boat. Yeah, I could kill the enemy like a dog falling streets, but I could not vote. Well, now you walk by me, you won't talk to me, say this is my fate. But every time you walk the streets, boy, more than I am made to see you too late. It's you, yeah. See a million faces, see a million places die. But I wonder who will walk with me when I get to heaven. Oh, I love that.
Decades with Joe E. Kramer and another lost track from the 80s.
You could have a Big Dipper going up and down all around the bends. You could have a bumper car bumping. This amusement never ends. I wanna be your sledgehammer. Why don't you call my name? Oh, let me be your sledgehammer. This will be my testimony, yeah. Yeah. There's a girl that's been on my mind all the time. So do you. Oh, now she don't even know my name, but I think she likes me just the same. So do you. Whoa, and my girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time. She parties all the time.
Say you.
Say me, say it for always. That's the way it should be.
Say you.
Say me, say it together.
Naturally.
We're going riding on the freeway of love.
When's against our back.
We're going riding on the freeway of love.
In a pink Cadillac.
That's why you need. Ooh, that's why. This is what you need. I'll give you what you need. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do the Harlem polka. Everybody now. She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. Well, I'm your Venus. I'm your fire. What's your desire? Nasty! Nasty boys don't mean a thing. Oh, you nasty boys. Nasty! Nasty boys don't ever change. Oh, you nasty boys. I like this part. Oh, rock me Amadeus. Oh, rock me Amadeus. Oh, rock me Amadeus. Oh, shout, shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, I'm talking to you. Come on, please, Papa, don't preach. I'm in trouble deep. Papa, don't preach. I've been losing sleep, but I made up my mind. I'm keeping my baby. Oh, I'm gonna keep my baby. I'm gonna keep
Oh, gotta love it. Bring out That's the way you end the night. What makes you happier than Weird Al Yankovic? That is Polka Party, Sledgehammers, the studio, party all the time. Say You, Say Me, Freeway of Love, What You Need, Harlem Shuffle, Venus, Nasty, Rock Me, Amadeus, Shout, and Papa Don't Preach. Now, for some reason, the album was one of his least successful albums called Polka Party. Only that, Dare to Be Stupid, and the Dare to Be Stupid and Poodle Hat and UHF, Poodle Hat, and Polka Party were his only albums that did not go at least gold. Everything else, he has those gold and platinum records for. Weird Al Yankovic right here on Decades. By the way, wrapping up, we were talking about before, 30 years ago, Energizer Bunny comes out January of 1989. Reebok Pump hits the stores. It's like the first sneaker for over $100 that we begged our parents to get. The Game Boy from Nintendo. 17 magazine invented the dreaded Freshman 15. Really, you tell this to girls. Freshman 15. You go to college and you gain 15 pounds. And The Simpsons, of course, were born in 1989. And it's weird because they're still on, and they were the TV show of the year when I graduated from high school in 1990. How about that? All right, got to thank David Fenton from The Vapors for joining us tonight in the Decades Artist Spotlight. That interview and more will be on our website, decadeswithjoeykramer.com. I have about 45 interviews up there. I'm going to get more up there. You can always listen to them absolutely free. I will talk to you next Saturday night. Shadow Steel will be joining us, and the last singing with the Sam, I guess, of the winter. For this break, anyway. We'll do that, too. Have a great week. I will talk to you next Saturday night. This is Decades worldwide on the RiverNEPA.com. Decades with JoeEKramer.com. The Radio Bolt app for your Apple or iPhone devices, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and, of course, on the good old-fashioned radio, the River 105 and 103.5.